Good afternoon, or excuse me, good morning to you, everybody. Or if you're watching this in the afternoon for you here on this Thursday, then good afternoon. So be it for you there. But we've got a severe weather system that's been working its way across the country. Unfortunately, we've heard of tornadoes that have touched down in Missouri, resulting in more deaths. It's just getting annoying at this point and frustrating for people as cleanup goers in places like Rolling Fork, Mississippi, all the way up through the Midwest and the Plains have been dealing with repetitive rounds of storms on top of what they're already trying to clean up, some of them causing damage as well. And then new tornadoes are also resulting in loss of life, which is absolutely absurd and upsetting for sure here. As the climate is warming, these storms are getting a lot worse. But the good news is this looks to be one of our last systems, and it looks to have a little bit of severe weather for us today from portions of the Delmarva area, which is Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia for you here. And then that'll stretch a little bit of a zone back over to Texas. But then the big story after that is that going to be for your Easter weekend travel plans. We are going to have rain all the way through the south and southeast. That is going to continue at least through Saturday. So, hello everybody. It's Thursday, April 6th. Let's get a look at the water vapor satellite imagery for you here. And you can definitely see where that front is stationed right now from portions of the Great Lakes region, Lake Michigan around you in Chicago. Yep, you've still got some of those showers and storms nearby, at least with some of that moisture working its way on up through your area. High pressure is filtering in behind it, making the weather a lot nicer into places like the Dakotas today. It is going to be cool. But you can see that we have more of those thunderstorms developing. You can see the billowing clouds all the way back into Texas. And then this is going to shift east as the day goes on. You can see in Virginia right now we've got some breaks in the clouds, which is going to allow for the sun to come out and allow for that energy to get going for this afternoon. In Texas, not so much, but it'll be later today when we get those storms going for you. And then a new system is working its way towards the Pacific Northwest right now. You can see there's a level 2 weather threat right now from portions of Virginia over to Delaware. A level 1 stretches all the way back into western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, as well as into southern West Virginia. And then South Texas getting in on a risk. No tornadoes are expected out of this, not to say one couldn't happen, but right now it's just looking like gusty winds to 60 miles per hour and a few areas of 1-inch hail in that eastern zone. Hail and winds in that isolated Texas threat as well for the day today, so keep that in mind. Let's play it out for you here. You can see the morning rain and storms are continuing, but these will break up as the day goes on. You can certainly see that. Maybe some early hail and storms and even to portions of Texas for you here. I know Texas is a little chopped out of the image, but it's going to take until this afternoon for some of these storms to fire up, not to say there won't be some earlier in the day. The whole southeast is going to deal with some pop-ups today, though you could see in portions of Mississippi, Louisiana, also getting in on some of those pop-up storms, but it looks to be mid to late afternoon when these pop-ups get going into portions of Virginia as we head towards the 7 o'clock time frame this evening. It's looking like those storms will get going, as well as back into Texas at this point. You can see some of those storms definitely starting to develop at that time. You can see those storms will gradually work their way on off to the south and east, it looks like, as the day goes on. There are more of those storms around the Houston area. It looks to be pretty heavy as we hit the midnight time frame tonight. Now, the flood risk is around there in that Houston area. A scattered flood risk for there, but all the way up to Nashville, there is a spotty flood threat. So we'll keep an eye on that, of course. Now, here's what's looking to go on as we head Friday and into Saturday. There's a spotty mix going on Friday into portions of the Pacific Northwest with rain in the lower elevations, snow in the higher elevations, but the main story is going to be this stationary front that's going to be stationed over in the southeast and the mid-south for you here, all the way from portions of southeast Texas, all the way over into the panhandle of Florida, and then up into portions of Virginia. Expect northeast winds to move in, expect rain. This is going to be pretty nasty weather for you here, especially if you're planning on doing any Easter egg hunting on your Friday and Saturday. Some of this will linger into Sunday along the Atlantic coast of this as well. So let's play that out for you here. You can see, again, this is the RGEM model. This one's going to give you a pretty good idea. There are those storms in Virginia. You can see the repetitive rain in places like Houston, Texas as we go into the night tonight. But notice as the day starts tomorrow, we're going to get this front to just kind of sit over the same areas. Rain getting going across the western Carolinas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama getting in on some heavy rain. And some of these batches of rain will be quite heavy at times as they work their way along the Appalachian chain, especially for you here. It's just going to be some pretty heavy rainfall, and it's going to be pretty repetitive as well. Northeast flow is going to fight back against this, which is part of why this front is just sitting back, because the winds are going to be coming out of the northeast in a lot of cases, but the rain's going to be trying to come up from southwest to northeast, pushing right against that wind just because of where the front is stationed. You could see some heavy rain getting going into Louisiana as Saturday starts, and just more rounds of heavy rain continuing over some of the same areas. This is Saturday, still holding strong. Notice it is pushing out of places like Texas and Louisiana by the time we hit your Saturday. It looks like Mississippi clearing up in the afternoon, Alabama clearing up as the sun goes down, and then this should clear up and head off the east coast as we go into the early part of Sunday. But notice there is still some lingering rain as you might wake up for going to church services or anything like that on your Sunday morning. You could see that rainfall looks to be heading off the coast by the time we hit at least about noontime, hopefully, but in Florida the rain will continue. Here's a look at the flood threat, my allergies for you here. Scattered flooding for portions of Mississippi over to the New Orleans area of Louisiana. That level 1 threat of flooding goes from eastern Texas all the way over to Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and the flood risk kind of shifts eastward a little bit as we go Sunday into Sunday night. Here's how much rain is going to be expected out of this. The blues are anywhere from half an inch to an inch in a lot of spots. I think a good average is going to be 1 to 3 inches in most locations. You could see a zone there. Any of the purples is 2+, and there's a little red zone there in Texas that could maybe pick up closer to 5 inches of rain, which is why we're concerned for some of this flooding. But this is some much needed rainfall in some cases, as some areas of the southeast have not had extremely heavy rainfall in a little while. Here, look at these temperatures, though, diving on down. You could see the green air moving on southward for you here. And that northeast wind is really going to be a factor as I'll play this out, even past the end of the music.